A queen in your bed already, Raven? You've only been free a month.
This discussion will contain potential spoilers through the end of the series. In the next couple of weeks, we also hope to have some show watcher only guests on as we do a couple more shows concerning the Wheel of Time, and we'll get some opinions and we'll do some more like non-spoiler discussions for those of you who are show only fans. Hi everybody, welcome to our talk about The Forsaken in Wheel of Time and the television show and in the books. I'm Sundaria, and I'm here with my friends Koala Sedai and Nyniamh Sedai. Thank you both for making time to come. Koala Sedai has put together, quite a while ago actually, she put together a really cool Forsaken graph, and she was making some guesses real early
it's
on.
Still a work in progress.
Yeah, until we get the final answer, and even then, with the Forsaken, nothing's ever final. Who do we think is the eighth
Who
Forsaken?
is the eighth Forsaken?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I still believe it'll be Asmodean. It's really good thinking that maybe it would be some kind of Taim and Dread mix with Asmodean, and I've walked right away from believing that. I think that Taim needs to become a new Forsaken because I think show watchers need to see that process. So I think that Taim might take on a lot of Demon Dread's stuff in the last battle, except for Shara. I don't think we'll get Shara. They have no need to spend the money on a whole culture that comes in at the last battle. I think we can ignore that. But all the rest of the kind of fighting that he does, calling for the dragon and fighting, I think that Taim can take all of that kind of side of Demon Dread over. I think that they've already got too much going on to introduce this one in the wait, and I don't even know that he's really. I think he's going to take he's going to be different in the show. So I think he'll come in a slightly later season.
Is he going to serve that same function as a teacher, do you think? Much.
It's like a repeat beat, but it might not be so much if Rand is really going a bit insane and having some trouble. Then maybe it will make more sense if next season he does meet Asmodean, and that would make more sense of LANFEAR getting someone to help him.
Right.
If he's having trouble controlling, he's starting to maybe channel just a little bit too much. So he just had that conversation with Moraine, and like you can see that he can grasp the source when he wants. It's just very icky, ooey, gooey. Yeah.
But they have already done a great job hinting with Rand that he has a hard time controlling himself. Like he can grab it when he needs it, right? But he's struggling with control.
He letting go. That's where he has the trouble. Yeah.
Okay, I like those. So what makes you discount? I think first of all we can pretty much, as book readers, discount Bilal, Bethamel, whatever, Agenor.
And Agenor. Yeah.
Our only candidates really are Daemon Dread, Asmodean, and Missana. So what makes you discount Missana?
I guess a lot of my work came from examining those statues. The combination of the statues and the patterns that were on the seals through lots of, that was months of going backwards and forwards and posts on Twitter and us, debating and whatnot as I put all of that together. But it would seem like LANFEAR was obvious on the statue because she's got the moon symbol and whatnot. And she's got that moon belt on. It's really helped confirm that we're on the right track. So, yeah, and like Megiddian has got that whole swollen belly with that spider webby pattern on it. And then when you look at Grendel's my favourite one because when you look at her pattern on the seal, it just has that that vulva look, it's like
really is.
hilarious. All the gateways, the going through the way gates.
It's kind of like a Sheila McGee with the whole big bosom and wide features.
Absolutely.
And, long neck
Absolutely. And there's a lot of great old fan art out there. And when you start to compare some of that fan art to the statues, it's like they must have used fan art to help actually design those statues. And so that helped give us a lot of confirmation that these are who they are. And when you look at that Samael statue now and the Samael that we just saw in the show, you're like, oh my God, that one is the one that actually looks the most like his little statue.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
fabulous, isn't it? But that's just his look all over. Yeah. So that's how Masana got discarded for me. There's another whole set of them that I did too that had the seal that Rand broke, and you've got the cracks on the seal. And there's this really fun loony theory that there's 8 cracks, but they branch and that ends up making 13. And if you follow the branches, we were trying to work out who that meant were having their roles merged with the other Forsake. There's like, there is no end to the lunacy of what we will do.
That's fun. That's actually a really fun idea.
It is really fun.
Yeah.
That's the level of detail that they actually give us in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they know Watt fans. And I mean, well, Rafe is a Watt fan himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Made my fans. Yes. They know us. They know that you're going to be doing that exact thing, looking at every detail, overthinking everything, but it's not necessarily, because we know that Jordan did put these kinds of things in, and so they're going to do the same thing for the show for us. All right, so Nyniamh, Sedai, do you have a different theory or the same theory, and why?
Actually, I have roughly the same theory as Koala, and I did actually write it a few days ago on Facebook in one of the Wheel of Time groups. So, more or less the same. The Mandred, his role can be easily given to Time, and the whole shower plot was just ridiculous because it was like something came out of nowhere and it was just put in there, so they could completely script that. I'm 100% for Asmodean because obviously the statue has the musical instruments. So I've been all week going to people, no, it's not the Mandred. Here, look at the statue. It's got a guitar.
It's a guitar.
It's like a guitar. Yeah.
It's like, you wouldn't have thought guitar until we saw Tom with a guitar. And then you're like, yeah, it's a guitar. Yeah.
Yeah. But now loads of people have this theory they're going to merge Tom with Asmodean, but I don't kind of go with that theory.
Nah.
It doesn't work for me. I'll eat my hat if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's going to be the case. This is the Wheel of Time fandom. We've got theories coming out left, right, and centre. If we can come up with a theory, as easy as it is, we're going to say it.
Good thing to know. That guitar makes it seem kind of set in stone, because one of the things, now that they've been named, I do believe obviously we have 4 female and 4 male, so that just kind of rules out Masana.
That makes sense,
Yeah. So she's just out. So it has to be Demon Dread or Asmodean. The whole thing that they were doing with Taim, that I think it's pretty clear that Jordan was doing, although we don't want to, make this accusation necessarily. He was writing Taim as Demon Dread until one day he decided he wasn't anymore.
Still make Taim a Forsaken, but the same way he becomes a Forsaken in the books. He'll go down the same path, so he'll become the new Forsaken in that same way. And he'll be behind the last couple. For 90%, 95% of the books, we literally see nothing of Demandred. Absolutely nothing. And then he just shows up.
And if he was Demandred, then that would make that make sense. But since it ended up being 2 separate characters, it makes more sense to merge them back together, essentially.
Yeah. I think it overstretched the 2 of them, and then Taim didn't get as much emphasis on his character the way he should have.
Right.
I think splitting the 2 that way and making Demandred as someone completely different, and then creating his Forsaken persona for Taim, it took one plot line and just halved it, and then both parts were weakened because of it. So Yeah, so bringing it all back together would make a lot more sense, in my opinion, anyway.
That makes sense. I didn't actually
Mm.
have an opinion between the two. I just knew it wasn't going to be Masana because, again, of the 4-4 balance issue. But yeah, you guys have totally convinced me. It's definitely going to be Asmodean. So that's interesting because so this kind of might lead us into the next question. Do we think that we will see the same endings for some of these characters as we do in the books, or similar endings? Because Asmodean is also sort of underutilized in the books, in my opinion, because he gets that ending with, you know, the mysterious killer and all that. It seems like his death was almost more important than the rest of what he does. So this is a good chance to really put him to better use, perhaps.
I think with Asmodean, we need him to go the way he did in
Yeah.
Mystery. Especially considering when you think that Rand actually had him severed, his link to the Dark One severed. So they're not going to want to keep him untethered and free like that. So they're going to want to get rid of him. But he's in a and he's in a precarious position as well. He's very close to Rand. He's in a position where he can turn. He knows too much. They can't have so many of them continue too far into the series, especially if we're only getting 8 seasons. But I think his role as a teacher for Rand is actually very important to Rand's development as a character.
It is.
Logain's just a little bit too crazy at the moment to be a valid teacher. Look, he is. Come on, he's a little loco.
Yeah.
He wasn't a good teacher for Rand. So Rand
Yeah.
is going to need that teacher, and he's going to need Asmodean. So I don't think he's going to be too far away from the Aielans. I wouldn't be surprised if he come in later in this series, if not at the beginning of the next series. I don't believe he's going to be anywhere like Tanchico.
So maybe Asmodean is the one that we see this season but don't know
Hmm.
that it's him, and
Yeah.
he doesn't get to meet him till next because I think that they're going to pretty much kill a Forsaken each season, and
Okay.
that
Mhm.
means that Raven.
No, I reckon it will be Lanfear because, well, if
uh,
Oh,
we're going to be losing Moiraine,
that's
we have to
true.
lose
That's
Lanfear.
true. Yeah,
do we?
yeah.
Okay, so you think it's going to
There's
go the same
so
way? I
much
mean, there was
to
a
pack
lot of
in.
foreshadowing in this recent episode, but not even foreshadowing. I mean, just
Hmm.
outright Lanfear killing Moraine
Yeah.
over and over and over and over again. So
I loved that too because there's
it's
that
great.
part in the book where Moraine realizes that she could have slept with Rand and that everything else, everything that follows that would be a disaster. And when
Hmm.
she's in the rings, the moment you have that scene where she sleeps with Rand,
And then
after
everything's worse
that,
from that point
Lanfear
on.
kills her, kills her, kills her, kills her,
Yep.
kills her, and it's like everything that followed was
I
disaster.
loved the
Yeah,
visual of
really
that. I
cool.
didn't know how they would ever handle the sort of alternate universes that always come up in Wheel of Time, whether it's like the flicker
Mm,
flicker or this,
mm.
but the
Mm.
turning, the fact that it was
That
just
was
con
another amazing camera that they used. Yeah,
so
yeah.
cool, just
And apparently they
absolutely
had so
stunning.
much fun with it too. It was like every time anyone had a spare moment, they would jump in front of the camera and kill each other.
That's awesome. I'll see all the extra footage someday. That would be awesome.
We need it. We would pay money for that.
So Koala's guess is Ravin.
We know Lanfear's got to go too. So,
It could be
Mm.
more than one
gosh,
per season.
Yeah.
Mogideon's arc concerning Nyniamh, do you think that that's going to remain fairly intact? You know, their personal
Yes.
oh
continued
yeah,
ongoing
Oh,
beef?
yes.
I want to see that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
Sure.
just that little bit of a still we got of, or was it in the teaser or in the
Perfect.
full
Yes.
trailer? I can't remember which,
In the
where
trailer,
you
and she's
see
under
Megiddion and
compulsion,
Nynaeve.
and the
Oh,
stroking of the face.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So we know that we've had a teaser of Nynaeve with Moghedien, and it's from the book as well. So it's book related. So
Hmm.
it's that scene where they're in the bar and Moghedien has her under compulsion. And I
That's right.
think
Mm,
that's what we've
mm.
seen in that clip. and that's that moment, and that's such a
Mm,
brilliant scene because it shows even more how vulnerable Nynaeve is because she can't even put a defense up. And I don't, if they didn't have that relationship between Nynaeve and Moghedien, then we wouldn't get to see that kind of element to Nynaeve.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And we've seen that Magedian's in Tanchico, so
mhm,
even without having seen that tiny snippet of her and Nynaeve together, we can see that
Make
the
that
Magedian
connection.
Leandrin and Magedian Nynaeve stuff is ahead. Yeah.
So Semirog seems like she might be kind of combined with Masana, which seems
Maybe.
maybe
Maybe. Because
they kind of
it's going to be
match.
really hard to know what they're going to do with the Shanshan because
Hmm.
they like
yes,
it they already had a Ishamael with them,
I have a
so
theory.
Okay, what's your theory?
Have a look at Samael's costume. If you look
yeah.
at the back of it and the ribbing, the way it's the bones and everything are ribbed along the back of it, it made me straight away think of the Shanshan. And it's all like
Okay.
almost like bones and interweavings of bones, but at the way it interweaves and crosses is very like an insect's back. And straight away when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if they're going to stick him in Shanshan.
Okay, that's an
Okay.
interesting theory. I like that.
So that means
Maybe,
that you think Semirag will be in the White Tower.
maybe Semirag is Alviarn.
Okay, so do we think we've already seen Semirog in the tower? Potentially.
I
Well,
wonder
we've
if
seen
she's actually
Alviarin.
cloaked as
We've seen
Alviarn.
Alviarin.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the first time she was introduced. So it could be quite easy for them to, or Semerhag to have replaced Alviarn with herself. Now, there's a theory going around that Rima is not Rima, and that Semerhag had replaced Rima in Falm. So
Hmm.
that's the other theory. So it's quite possible that she's in the tower.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because there's another theory that Grendel will be Savannah.
I
And
heard that one.
Oh,
Yep.
I
oh.
don't completely
I can't.
subscribe to it, but if the only thing that makes me think it's a possibility is if you watch again episode 4 carefully, when Bear arrives and she sees Savannah, it's just like when Elaine saw Raven. She looks at her and she's like, and then she
Oh.
goes, Savannah.
Oh, I
And
didn't
it's
notice
and I
that.
remembered, yeah,
Mm.
So little pause. We'll be looking for that. That could be a hint that this person isn't who they seem to be.
yeah,
Hmm.
So Savannah,
it
okay.
really reminded me. Yeah, you saw Liana do it and you saw Elaine do it. And so I'm not convinced, but that lends weight to me that possibly if we're not going to get Asmodean in the waste, it would make sense that we get Savannah.
There shall be no blood on the ground.
Just
I
go ahead and
think
finish.
she's too perfectly Savannah to be
I
anybody
mean,
but Savannah. You know what I
I
mean? The
want
only
her to only be Savannah, personally.
yeah, she's just
But
so
we've got
Savannah.
to
She's
throw the theories
perfect.
out there
Oh yeah, because that's
because
what we're
That's
all
what we
about.
do.
because then
What
the
we
three of
do.
us can get back together and do another episode and talk about how wrong we were.
And our new theories. What are
Yeah,
our replacement
And our
theories?
new theories. Exactly. Exactly.
I said it's not the joy of being a Wheel of Time fan.
It
Constantly
Oh.
truly
coming back
is.
with something even crazier, more,
Mm.
extreme than the last time.
So that I hadn't, you know what? I hadn't honestly, I'm on my second rewatch right now of the first 4 episodes so far of season 3, and I had not been watching it critically yet. I don't know why. I'm still watching it, like I said, like with all of my emotions turned to 110.
Which is
So it's really hard still to like, I haven't, my theory mind hasn't really got going yet. I'm still trying to get past the emotional bit, but that's still an interesting insight. So I'm gonna keep that in mind on my next viewing of that episode. Do we think anybody is a potential for a redemption arc? I think personally, I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity in the books, to have one of the bad guys have a little bit more of a turn, because it keeps saying no one is gone so far from the light that they can't come back and all that.
that's true.
Yet we never really see it
But
happen.
fuck them, no.
Yeah.
with LANFEAR in the book to get Aaron to help Rand out at the end. You know, she's helping him through the dream world, through Talaran Riyadh, to get him to get to the point to be there to stop. She's playing so many different parts. It's almost like she's trying to say, I'm actually on the light side just in case the light wants to give me redemption. But clearly that's not how it happens. You've already screwed over everybody in the meantime, you know.
Right. That is
But
the
I
question.
think there is an attempt at one.
I don't think hedging your bets, it's redemption.
The only ones who have the potential to be redeemed even slightly are, in my opinion, I think, mostly LANFEAR, because they do paint her as more nuanced. And there's some problematic stuff with LANFEAR in the books, being that, you know, a lot of her dark side is the woman scorned thing, which doesn't really play well so much with modern audiences. And they're trying to give her, they gave her the same backstory. You know, she was the one responsible for the boar that we just saw, and that was amazing, by the way. Just absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely.
But she clearly wasn't doing it for her own personal gain, same as in the book. She's doing it because she wants to help humanity. She's like, there will be this wonderful thing where everyone can access the same. So she's doing it, you know, scientific research. It's not like, ooh, I want the power. So here we have, again, she's not like a horrible, selfish, monstrous person in the first place. So she still has this potential, maybe. I don't know. My mind, I personally, maybe it's just a personal desire, but I have a want to see that, because it was said so often in the books, you know, no one is so far gone, and yet everyone was so far gone. I can't. Did any dark friends even?
Sorry, you say those nice things about LANFEAR, and I just see her explode that guy's head off.
I know, that's true. But, you know, okay,
Look,
so in other stories,
is
we have
definitely-
dark. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nyniamh.
No, I was about to say she's definitely batshit crazy, but she still has a chance for redemption.
So the redemption
Batshit
with those
crazy.
kind of characters have to be the Darth Vader level of redemption. You can never redeem that character
Yeah.
and they have a happy life. Their redemption always comes through personal sacrifice. They're like, all right, my save the cat moment is I throw myself in front of something so that Rand lives and I die, kind of thing, right? It has to be something like that. So her only way of redemption is through personal sacrifice. I don't know if she has that in her. It would have to be for actual love.
I'd be
meaning she
so
cares
disappointed.
Would you? Okay, that's interesting to know.
Oh, yeah.
What about Asmodean? So he came to the darkness through not through a completely horrible path. I know he does some horrible things, obviously, but he's the other one who has. Look, like Ravin can't be redeemed. The man is essentially the R
No,
word.
Ravin
We can't
definitely
say
not.
it. No, he can't.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We can't. The torture is, you know, Missana / Semirog, if we're combining them or whichever version of that, you get people that are like turning children and or torturing people because they get pleasure out of it. Same problem with Mo Gideon. That can't be fixed. So you can't have redemption there. So that only leaves Ishamael. No, okay, so I was going to compare him to another character where you have like a little bit of sympathy for the villain who is doing their villainy through honest belief that it's the best course, not again through personal. So obviously what he's doing is horrible.
Yeah.
Thanos. So
And-
he's
and
got
that's
the Thanos
Ishamael.
thing going. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, he
I
kills
was about
people.
to say Paul from Doom.
Okay.
You know
That's
what?
interesting. So how is he like Paul from Dune? That's interesting.
Well, Paul's not really a hero. He's an anti-hero. He's the complete
By the end.
opposite of what he thinks he is. So yeah, you could almost say that Ishamael started out thinking he was probably doing things for good, but ended up not quite in that same place by the end of it.
Because we know that Dune was a big inspiration for Jordan.
And he has the purest motives
He does.
of all of the Forsaken. Like,
so do you think he has the
all
potential
the way
for
through
some kind of redemption, maybe? Which leads into one of the next questions, which will we see him return? Obviously, he can't have a redemption if he stays.
Is he dead?
Is he dead?
I mean, that's the first question. Did Rand kill him? Because he's in the poster.
I expected him to be in a flashback, and in particular in the Rodian stuff, but he wasn't. So now we're really starting
he
to
wasn't
wonder
part of
if he
Rand's
wants to be in it.
Aiel.
No, but I did wonder. So he's obviously going to show back up somewhere.
I don't think he could be in the poster just because he's in a flashback.
No,
Do we
that
think
wouldn't.
he'll
To
come
be
back
in that
more
poster, he
in
has to be in the show. So
And this
maybe,
season, we
so,
have to see him
so
in the
and
next.
yeah, correct. So
yeah.
is he dead, or are they going to pull it on us for
Will
So that's a good
the
he
question.
be Morden?
So will he
The
return, and will
question
we
is
still
will
see
he be
him?
Morden?
That's the question. So will we see him return in
Mm.
his the Ishamael we've already seen, or will he come back as reborn as Moradin? Is that too confusing for
Yeah.
show watching audience?
I think if he's Moradin, he has to be in a different body.
Any
But
purpose?
I don't think he's Moradin yet. I don't.
Right.
I just
No.
can't
Or
see that he's.
But
Yeah.
Is there any
I,
necessary
and,
purpose in putting him into a new body? And I know that what happens at the very, very
I
end.
don't
But can they
think there
still
is.
do that with Ishamael? They still can. It can just still be
I
Ishamael
don't
that
think
I would hate to see
crosses
Rand
between.
walk out as Faris. It just, to me, that just,
It's like
I
a
don't
middle-aged
know.
guy with a
It,
beard, and you're
it
like
just, yeah,
lights the
it
pipe.
just
You're like,
doesn't work
no.
for me. It doesn't work for me.
no, the thing is, we know we're getting the
Full
nameless
spoiler.
plot. We know we're getting the nameless plot because it was mentioned
Correct.
in full opening
Yes.
for episode
Okay.
3. So
Right.
Yeah.
nameless got mentioned twice because they did haunt Lanfear. Well, why haven't you been named
Yep.
nameless yet? So
That
Yeah.
makes
why
me think.
maybe
And
he's
why
still
isn't the Dark One even talking to you?
That makes
Yeah.
me think. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to bring him back because she even says, "Well, maybe he's not. Maybe the Dark One still wants Ishamael." So it
Mhm.
seems to me like that was
Yes,
more
but
than.
is he Ishamael or is he Moradin?
That's the question.
That's
Will he
the
come back as
question.
Moradin?
And
Well,
I
maybe he'll come
can't
back as.
answer it except to say if Rand walks out as Faris,
They
I
could do more than
can't.
one bait and switch, but they can't. They can't keep killing him over and over again. That would get tedious. So your final prediction: will he come back this season as Ferris, or will he come back?
Can I say
Uh,
I'm on the fence?
Okay, that's
Um,
a fair
I'm not
answer.
too
I don't know.
No, I honestly I have no idea. But here he's going to come back in some shape or form. Nameless has been hinted at. Oh, maybe we might get Marden. Or maybe he'll come back and he'll call himself Marden. Or they'll just call him Nameless. Who knows? Only one way
Okay.
to find out.
Koala, what do you think you'll see? Prediction.
so I think having to kill him one more time is too much. And
Too
I
many fake outs.
don't know how they would do it since they're not doing tier. So unless we just find out in the last episode that he is still alive and that he's a player, and then Rand faces him in tier with Calendar next season,
Next season.
that's a possibility. I don't want to see Faris as Moradin. That's all. Yeah.
So-
So if he stays in that body and they call him Nameless, I would probably find that a bit easier to take, but it really makes me wonder how they'll do the end. Because to me, the whole thing of Ishamael being put into another body was the foreshadowing of the body swapping at the end. So if they don't body swap him at some point, I don't know how they pull the ending off. It will be like, where did that come from? So I don't know. Do you know what? One of my show only watcher friends who's really only just started watching in the last few months and has had to like binge and everything to be ready to watch the new season, she has already said to me how they're not going to go full Doctor Who with Rand and put him in a new body. And I'm just like, gee, I don't know where you got that from.
Yeah. No comment.
So, do
So
you think
your theory.
Oh God. Okay. That's good.
Come on, you can't just put it on us.
Okay.
Yeah, like we've been
like you said, he's definitely coming back. I feel like, okay, trying to look at it from also like a visual perspective. This is one of the reasons they make some of these changes in the TV show. Will audiences understand, how well will they understand that this is like Ishamael in a new body? But we have seen other TV shows that have done this kind of thing successfully.
Like Doctor
changing
Who.
bodies. Well, there's that one with like Doctor Who. There's another one, I forget what it's called. Altered Carbon, I think. Altered Carbon also has like re-sleeving as a concept and stuff. So I think they could pull it off if done right. Why they would show Ferris in the poster if he's not going to be the actor we see playing Ishamael going forward might just be to remind people that Ishamael is in there. I don't know. So I'm going to say we're just going to see it as Ferris because I don't know. I'm so bad at this. I'm bad at making predictions on the spot. No, because you make such a good point that it doesn't make sense for Rand to walk off as that character.
And he's at the very back of the poster, which indicates he's only going to have a very small part, because you notice that Rand was at the front of the poster with Moraine behind him. So they were saying Rand takes a bigger part.
You've convinced me. I think they'll get a different actor, and we will see. we'll see the actual switch happen. That's what I'm saying. So we'll see somehow Ishamael go into Moradin to make it clear visually somehow for the audience.
See, that would make sense.
So that's what
that would be really interesting.
And we'll see that by the end of the season. So there we go. That would work. That'd be cool.
That would make sense
and be exciting.
Yeah, so we see that happen.
So how will we see LANFEAR and Moraine's interaction happen?
We've seen the doorway.
Yeah,
we've seen the doorway twice.
Season 1. In episode 1.
When Min has her vision, Matt is hanging from the doorway.
Okay. You know what?
So that was 2 episodes.
Both times. Yeah. No, I watched the 13th Depository and I still didn't see it in there. So I'm going to go back and rewatch that scene again. All right.
It's in there. And it's got a snake on one corner and Fox on the other corner.
Fox on the other.
Do you think they're going to
have a good
And so I think we'll get both Finn in there at the same time.
So is that how we're going
and
to
they'll either be together or he'll bounce from one, he'll argue with one lot to get his answers and then think he's escaping and run into the next lot, or something like that. But I don't think he'll go through twice.
So will the fight be the same?
The fight with LANFEAR and Moraine will be over Sakanan. Okay. I would predict. It's really interesting with the Sakanan because we know that Moraine gets up there and she's doing the big whatever she's doing with it. Is Rhuidean going to function without the Sakanan sitting in the middle of a Bendisora? Latra sent the Sakanan with the Aiel specifically to hide it from LANFEAR. This is show canon only, of course, but that was really obvious in the scenes in the columns, that the reason that she sent the Sakanan off with them was to hide it from LANFEAR, and they had put Kalendor. So, and I love the whole thing of that. They sent the Sakanan to be hidden through peace, and Kalendor, which is the female half, and the Kalendor they put into the Stone of Tyr that was being, guarded by an army force. So you had the violence guarding the male one and the female one, where, they're just doing all that balance and duality beautifully. So so that's what's going to happen, is it's going to have something to do with the Sakanan. Okay. I think that they will fall through the doorway.
Fighting over it.
I do think they will fall through the doorway, and I think, and here we go, another loony prediction, I think that Swan will go with Matt to rescue Moraine.
By the end, okay.
Instead of the Tom and Moraine, I think it'll be a reuniting of the Swan and Moraine. And it'll be a beautiful, bring their relationship back around.
That's sweet.
Yeah, because you saw Moraine rescuing her in Tarvalon, So there you go.
You know what?
That's a great
I'm not
theory.
sure about the red door. I'm not sure if they'll go through the red door, because the second red door is going to be in Tanchico. So unless they
but there's more than one.
Tanchico, there's 2.
But there's more than one door.
Right.
There could be more than 2. Yeah, there's more than one door. Yep. So why can't there be a door in Rhuidean?
So you do think that they will have the battle in a way that leaves them recoverable as they do in the books? Because I was kind of wondering if they were going to really just kill off both those characters.
I was thinking they were just going to kill them both off.
Yeah, that's what, okay, so Nynaeve,
Look,
that's a good
maybe
question.
they will. That would be sad. That would be
It would be.
sad.
What would be the purpose of bringing Moraine back aside from, even what's the purpose of bringing Lanfear back?
Because
Have
she's
a
the only
redemption.
one that survived ever,
Of
forever
course, we only know
after.
that recently, though. I mean, that's like only confirmed very recently through Brandon Sanderson and Matt Hatch, but which is
Yeah.
super cool, by the way.
Matt Hatch will kill Rafe if they kill Lanfear halfway
Oh
through
my
the books,
gosh.
halfway through
I
the
think
show.
Yeah, I think so. Ishamael and Lanfear, you believe Koala will be coming back, and Nynaeve, you're like yes on Ishamael, no on Lanfear.
Well,
Turning.
even the yes on Ishamael, I'm not sure because I don't know if he'll come back as himself or if he'll just be in a cold opening flashback.
Okay.
Like we do love a nice bit of analepsis when it comes to cold openings. So maybe
Mm,
that's where we'll see him, and that's why they've got him in the poster. But who knows?
Fair enough. There's eight
Or like you
Forsaken, only
said,
so many seasons.
mm,
If we keep
yeah,
bringing them back, which was a problem even in the books, it's like, oh my God, can we like move on to other characters, sort of, right? Like, or focus more on. Right. It's fine. I understand like introducing Ravin only to kill him permanently so that we understand that they can just be dead, right? They
yeah,
just be like,
exactly.
goodbye, Forsaken. This one's not coming back
But I
too many
think in the
times.
long run, we have to have the essence of Shamil back in some shape or form. Maybe
It's
not as
necessary
far
for
as
the end.
far as playing him, but for the whole story, he has to come back in some shape or
yes,
form.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
All right.
And the good thing for the show writers is that they have had the whole story to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which has not always happened with TV shows that are, adapting long series. And they had always aimed for 8 seasons. Makes it really hard to predict what they're going to do
Yes.
because they have the whole story and we keep getting caught into specific ways things happen in particular books,
Yes.
Yeah.
and they've been able to disassociate themselves from going book by book into let's put the whole story into a 8.
One of the last things I'd like to at least have everybody just like touch on a little is what a good job they've done. The further this series has gone on, the more on path it seems. A lot of book fans that didn't like series one, I'd like them to give it a chance again. If you haven't, please do, because it is more Wheel of Time now than it ever was. Every single episode, it feels more and
Yeah.
more. And also, some things are even better, and this might be hard to hear for some people, but there have been some improvements made. How they're handling the Forsaken, which is what we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
today, it's like
Yeah.
every Forsaken has somehow been improved, right? Like their storyline is, they're more fleshed out, they're more 3D characters.
Renew Wheel of Time. Please, Sony TV, give us more Wheel of Time. That's all we want. If this season has not proved how
Please.
brilliant the
I
Wheel of
know.
Time is and can be, with having an episode that basically was described as one of the best pieces of fantasy on television ever. Why
Yeah.
would you cancel it? So all I can say is please, please, can we just have more?
Mhm.
You're not asking for
More,
much.
more, more. Definitely.
More. And on that note, when we come back, and we will do this again, the three of us, next time,
Yeah,
with luck,
I'm
we will have
for
a
it.
book or a show only watcher. She contacted me and she's like, oh my God, have you seen the most recent episodes? I'm dying. And, she has all these thoughts. And so she wants to come and share her thoughts. And we definitely want to hear
That'd be
what.
fun. Okay, one last thought.
Okay.
I believe that Tom will meet Elaine in Tanchico and will explain to her that Gabriel is not who he says he is, because
Oh,
Tom
that would
is
be
the
good.
only one who knows Elaine, her history, her family, and knows that that fella hasn't been there for the last 10 years. Where the fuck's Gareth
Mhm.
Bryan? He's
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Mugabe, and he'll help break that compulsion somehow, by
Help
triggering
unmask
her real,
Ravin.
which will be a
Hmm.
nicer thing than the triggering of pulling the mustache memories
No, he's not a Forsaken. He can never be a Forsaken. I refuse to
No,
believe that.
No,
he's Merlin.
no.
'Cause- yeah.
Yep.
But it's been
Thank you.
absolutely
So
lovely.
good
I
to
love
see you.
We'll be
All right,
safe,
so thanks,
everybody. Thanks
Ryan.
for
Righty.
coming.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye now.
Bye.
G'day. It's so nice to be here on screen with you, Centauria, and with my good friend Nyniamh. I mean, we got to meet last year in Prague at MalkiriCon, and that's given such a special bond when you get to meet someone face to face. I do lots of stuff on the around with Wheel of Time because it's a bit obsessive, you might say. I do have my own YouTube channel where I've been doing breakdowns and even started some live reactions. I'm in a podcast called Delving the Chronicles with Dana Luzul, Beth Doman and Moshadi, and occasionally we record a podcast called They Might Be Dark Friends, which I do with Alyssa, Rob from Weekly Wheel News, and Lauren from Unraveling the Pattern. And if you are not watching Unraveling the Pattern, get over there because Lauren makes the best video that there is, and he does all sorts of things on book reader level and full spoiler level, unraveling the story of the Wheel of Time, both book and show.
And the deep dives are still so deep. He notices stuff and just gets, I'm always impressed by his stuff. Nyniamh Sedai, why don't you say hi and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Nyniamh in real life. I am more of a newer Wheel of Time fan than most people in the fandom. I came to the books because of the TV series, so I watched the first episode and was like, I need to read these books, which was quite shameful because my cousin had spent the last 20 years telling me to read them, and I kept going, oh, so and I'm just in love with it. I've never been so hyper fixated on a book series and TV series before, so it's become a big part of my life. And that's my main contribution to the fandom, other than doing a couple of shows as a guest. So that's me in a nutshell.
Being a new fan is a huge contribution just in and of itself, that the show is bringing in new readers, because that's fantastic. That's fun. To my regular audience, if you're watching, I mean, normally we do the Good Omens content. I've mentioned numerous times, you guys are probably familiar at this point, that WAT is kind of my OG fandom. And as I've, done some stuff for WAT Idol and for the holiday special that Lauren ran. And I've been a fan since, I want to say it was like 92, 93. It was pretty early on. I was 19 or 20 when I started reading, and it's become such a, I almost want to say like integral part of my personality. The most recent episode at this point that I've seen, episode 4, I spent the whole time shaking and crying through the entire episode. So yeah, it's just intense.
Yeah.
The whole experience of the show has become, and it's become more and more intense each season, each episode. It's just getting better and better, and so it's fantastic. And I'd really like to thank both Koala Sedai and Nyniamh Sedai for making time and being on my channel. And for those of you who aren't Wheel of Time fans, I do hope you go and check the show out. It is amazing. It only gets better. From season 1 to season 2 to season 3, it has gotten progressively enormously better. Like, it's just become some of the best television on right now. Thank you all for watching. I hope you tune back in for some more Wheel of Time for the rest of this month while the new episodes are coming out. I do hope to come out with about an episode a week. The theories are so much fun though, and this is where I kind of got my theory training. And so thank you to the WAT fandom, and I hope you all enjoy our chat.